You wake up in a hallway with 3 doors. On the first, a carved owl of Athens. On the second, a boulder etched with a single name, Sisyphus. On the third, a lightning bolt and the words, "God is dead." You only get one question to ask the person behind a door. What gives life meaning? Which door do you knock on? Socrates, Camus, or Nietzsche? Hold that choice. In the next minutes, we'll ask each of them, watch them disagree violently, and then build a practical playbook you can use today. By the end, you'll know which door you choose and why. Part 1. What we mean by meaning. People say meaning of life and secretly mean different things. For some, it's a purpose given from outside, destiny, a plan. For others, it's a feeling, aliveness, direction, coherence. Philosophers often split it into 3 questions: what's true, what's good, and what's worth doing. Our 3 guides each pick a different starting point. Socrates begins with the soul and virtue, Camus with the absurd mismatch between our hunger and a silent universe, Nietzsche with the courage to create values when old ones collapse. Same mountain, 3 very different routes. Part 2. Socrates, the examined life. Imagine the Athenian marketplace. Noise, bargaining, gossip. Socrates moves through it barefoot, stopping strangers with a simple, dangerous question. What is the good? He doesn't lecture. He cross-examines. He peels apart definitions until the confident become uncertain, and then honest. For Socrates, the meaning of life is not a riddle to be solved, but a practice to be lived. Examine yourself, pursue wisdom, and become good. He believes virtue and knowledge are intertwined. If you truly know what is just, you will do it. So meaning is found in caring for your soul, choosing justice over convenience, and aligning actions with reason. That's why, when condemned to death, he refuses to escape. To run would be to betray the very justice he taught. He drinks the hemlock. He dies consistent. Socrates' message to you is blunt. Your life is worth what your character is worth. You find meaning by interrogating your assumptions, correcting your vices, and living so that your choices could be defended under cross-examination, even by yourself. Part 3. Camus, the absurd and the revolt. Fast forward 2 millennia to a world of wars and shattered certainties. Camus asks a chilling opener. If the world has no built-in meaning, why not end it? He calls this the only serious philosophical problem. His answer begins with a diagnosis: the absurd. We have a human hunger for clarity and purpose, but the world offers indifference, storms, illness, randomness. The absurd happens in the collision between our questions and the silence that answers back. Camus rejects 2 escapes. He refuses physical suicide because it ends the very consciousness that asks the question. And he refuses what he calls philosophical suicide, leaping into a doctrine or dogma just to quiet the anxiety. Instead, he proposes revolt. Live without appeal to a cosmic guarantee. Face the absurd lucidly, and in that clear-eyed defiance, create a style of living, intense, free, present. That's why his most famous image is Sisyphus rolling the boulder. The gods punish him with endless repetition. Camus imagines Sisyphus pausing at the top, catching his breath, fully aware of the futility, and smiling. The meaning is not in the mountain's summit, it's in the way he pushes. Camus' message: meaning is made in the manner of your living, your revolt, your freedom, your daily fidelity to what you love, even without guarantees. Part 4. Nietzsche, Create values. Embrace the test. Enter Nietzsche with a hammer. He doesn't mean God is dead as a victory lap. It's a diagnosis. Old sources of meaning, traditional religion, inherited morality, have lost their unquestioned authority for many. The danger isn't atheism, it's nihilism. Nothing matters. Nietzsche's response is not to crawl back to old certainties, but to become worthy of creating new ones. He sketches several tools. The will to power, not crude domination, but the drive to expand your capacities, to shape chaos into form. The revaluation of values. Ask which moralities make you smaller, resentful, timid, and which make you more alive, responsible, creative. The figure of the Übermensch is not a comic book hero. It's a symbol of a human who authors their life like a work of art. Then he gives you a brutal thought experiment, eternal return. Imagine a demon tells you you'll have to live this exact life again, every detail, infinitely. Would you curse the demon or welcome him? Nietzsche's test is a spotlight. If your answer is despair, something must change. He pushes you toward living so intentionally that you could say yes to your own repetition. His message: meaning is not discovered like a coin on the street. It's forged. Your task is to become a creator of values, to say a strong yes to your life, and to take responsibility for the shape it takes. Part 5. Their clash in plain terms. Socrates says, meaning flows from virtue and wisdom. Know the good and live it, even at a cost. Camus says, the universe won't validate you. Meaning is the stance you take against the absurd, your revolt and presence. Nietzsche says, stop begging for permission. Remake the table of values and live a life you could will again. They diverge sharply. Socrates trusts rational inquiry to reveal the good. Nietzsche suspects reason can be a mask for fear and decay. Camus refuses to jump into metaphysical promises. Socrates anchors meaning in the health of the soul. Yet they all demand courage. Socrates drinks the cup. Camus laughs on the hillside. Nietzsche says yes to the demon. All three point beyond comfort to a form of integrity. Part 6. Trying them on. A day in your life. Let's run a one-day experiment. Morning. Before you touch your phone, sit with one question Socrates would ask. What am I living for today, and would I defend it under cross-examination? Think through a real decision you'll face, how you'll treat a colleague, whether you'll cut a corner. Write the answer you'd be proud to say aloud. Midday, the Camus moment. Something goes wrong, a delay, a rejection, a plan falling apart. Notice the absurd, the gap between your script and reality. Instead of pleading for the world to change, choose revolt. Keep your dignity. Choose a generous action. Do the next thing well. Meaning is in the manner of your push. Evening. Nietzsche's test. Replay your day and ask the demon question. If you had to live that day again, unchanged, would you say yes? If not, where did you live passively or small? What one change would move you closer to a yes tomorrow? Harder work on something you care about, a bolder conversation, fewer numbing habits, more creation. In one day, you've practiced Socratic integrity, Camusian revolt, and Nietzschean authorship. None of these require cosmic guarantees. All three require agency. Part 7. Common traps and how each thinker helps. Meaning often collapses in 3 ways. First, drift. Days pass without examination. Socrates is the antidote. Regularly interrogate your life so you don't sleepwalk through it. Second, despair. When plans break, You conclude nothing matters. Camus answers, recognize the absurd, refuse surrender, and find joy in lucid effort. Third, resentment, seeing others' lives as the cause of your unhappiness. Nietzsche explodes this. Resentment is a signal you're living by borrowed values. Create, don't curdle. Another trap is outsourcing your meaning entirely to work or romance. Socrates would remind you that flourishing is about the state of your soul, not just your resume. Camus would remind you to savor the present texture of a day, not only its utility. Nietzsche would ask whether you chose this love, this project, as your own, or whether you were drafted by the herd. Part 8. Choosing your door. Return to the hallway. If you knocked on Socrates' door, you're choosing a life that can withstand questioning, coherent, just, steady. If you chose Camus, you're choosing style and courage in a world that won't explain itself. Lucid, intense, faithful to what you love. If you chose Nietzsche, you're choosing authorship, risk, creation, and the responsibility that comes with saying yes to your life. You don't have to pick only one forever. In practice, you'll blend them. Socratic honesty keeps your creation from becoming vanity. Camusian revolt keeps your virtue from becoming brittle. Nietzschean authorship keeps your lucidity from becoming gray. Together, they form a triangle you can navigate by. Here's the challenge for this week. Pick a decision you've been postponing. Give it a Socratic examination. What would the just, courageous choice be? Expect the world not to reward you for it. Meet whatever comes with Camus's joy in Revolt. And then add one Nietzschean stroke. Make the choice in a way you could will again, boldly enough that, if the demon appeared tonight, you'd nod and say, yes, that day. If this helped you think clearer about the meaning of life and gave you tools to live it, stick around. Next, we'll walk into Plato's cave and ask why shadows feel so comfortable and how to step into the light without going blind.